Imagine, if you will, you're in Buffalo in 1993 and it's the AFC wildcard game. It's cold and you're up against the AFC champion of the previous 2 years. But your number one ranked passing offense goes ahead and throws for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, and you're up 28-3 at halftime. Nice. Now imagine you end up losing that game 41-38 in the biggest comeback in NFL history. How the hell does that happen? Well, it turns out that the team that blew this lead, the Houston Oilers, was a run-and-shoot offense. And the same reason they were able to score so many points, i.e. having their Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon throw to 4 really good and really fast wide receivers, was the same reason they weren't able to close the game out. The run-and-shoot offense is not built for power running and closing games out. It's one of the many criticisms against it. Issues in pass protection and red zone scoring mean that things can go really bad really quick. And if you've run this offense in Madden at all, you know that this is all too real. Not so much because you don't have the practice or the personnel for running power O or whatever. You definitely do. But because the formations in the playbook that we're given are so limited. But we can still get creative with it. In this video, I want to show with you how you can score in the red zone with the run and shoot playbook. And by the way, these concepts easily carry over to all other playbooks, so there's something here for everyone. Well, let's get started. So the first thing I want to go over is very similar to the concept I showed in one of my much earlier videos when I really went over the easiest way to score in the red zone, in my opinion at the time. So essentially it was just a smart routed out route from a compressed wide receiver, whether that's his original alignment or a motion in, and that you would just sprint out with your quarterback, and by the time he gets to the sideline in the end zone, you just toss a quick pass to them, and it's an easy touchdown because really none of the zones in this game, whether they're cloud flat or hard flat or a deep zone or whatever, will actually defend all the way to the sideline. They kind of give up, and there's a sweet spot to throw there. And the reason why I was so good is because you had at least 1 or 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage that can double team the defensive end that could be in a contained assignment or whatever, and it'd allow you to easily roll around him and be free for the either throwing it to the end zone there or even just running it in yourself. But the run and shoot, like I was saying, it's not built for power, so everything's spread out. Okay, just like that. So you have no way to get a double team on a defensive end unless you do something creative, and we'll get into that. So I'll just come out in one of these single backs. So you can do it in shotgun. It's a lot easier if you do it in single back or pistol, and we'll go over that. I'll just go into the single back spread, and I'll pick flank or dig. And we'll go over the cover 2 hard flat. Now you can go check that earlier video to see how this kind of concept works against different coverages. So different hard flat, different cloud flats, different whether it's cover 3 or cover 2 or whatever. In this one, we'll just show the cover 2 and we'll move on. But it works against any coverage really. So we'll pick that. Now what we want to do is get Carmichael out of the way. So we're going to be sprinting out to the wide side of the field. So we can either slant him or whatever. We want to put our slot receiver on a smart routed out route. Now I wish he was a bit further in, but I mean we can't really do anything about that. So anyway, that's all we can do. So this is going to be a lot more effective kind of the further you are away from the end zone. So I think 10 yards probably the best here, up to 5 yards. If you're doing this with heavier sets, you could do this all the way up to the 1 yard line. So this one, I don't know if you could really do it that close to the end zone, but anyway, this is definitely something you want to go to once you get to this kind of general area. And what you're going to want to do is put your halfback on a wheel route, and so that's going to suck down any hard flats and leave you a lot more room over the top with that out route. Now, in order to get a double team on the defensive end, this guy right here, Bosa, we're going to motion across our leftmost wide receiver, Calvin Johnson here. So he doesn't need to be a great blocker or anything. He just needs to contribute to the double team in order to give us just enough time to kind of roll past him. And in order to do that, we just snap the ball right when he gets to the right tackle. Okay, so he'll automatically switch to a blocking assignment, and he'll contribute to the double team. Okay, once we snap, we just roll out, and we're going to hit sharp on the sideline. So you see the double team engages there, and we're free for a touchdown. Okay, so just slow that down a bit. We'll go to the instant replay. Okay, so kind of started late, but anyway. So there's Calvin right there. And because he's not past the pocket, he automatically converts to a blocking assignment. He takes the nearest blocker, double teams. We roll out with Marino here, I guess. You see the hard flat there, the cover 2 hard flat, kind of bites on this wheel route here from Gurley, and then you're wide open on the out route over there. Okay, so you can really do that all day. And again, you can do that against cover 3 or cover 4 or whatever, or cover 2 or whatever. So essentially hard flats or cloud flats, whether it's from the corner or from the slot. And then you can really do this every time you hit the red zone. The only time it really gets muddied up is if the user will go himself and go add another defender over there. In which case, you can also kind of cut this upfield. I've had situations where the opponent overcommits, and then I just run kind of in this area here. I mean, you need a really fast quarterback to do that, but if you do, that's definitely an option. Also, if he's overcommitting that way, you usually have some other routes in the middle. So this Carmichael, so he'd be really good. So you can kind of watch that, and then if he passes Carmichael and doesn't take him, well, you can just throw it wide open right there. So that's something you don't have to look to right away, but it's something you can look to once your opponent starts to kind of roll over to the field there to stop your scramble or your sprint out, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's that. Now, unfortunately, sometimes things are tough, and you'll come up against something that's really good, and they manage to shut it down. Maybe they drop back one of these guys into the middle here, so then there's somebody there while he's usering over there, or even he uses the cornerback here. There's other things we can do, and we'll stay in the single back spread. So we'll go to something like slant flats. And this concept's really good here. This is, again, something you can use in any playbook, and it's really a way that we can exploit those hard flats. So this is something that doesn't actually work against cloud flats or curl flats. But once you're in the red zone, let's face it, everybody's going to be in hard flats. So let's go to, I guess we didn't really need to change anything here. Let's go start with cover 2 hard flat. And all we're going to do is we're going to look to the boundary side of the field. Okay, so that's what I like about this, is that you can exploit the field with your sprint out, but you can also exploit the boundary. So what we're going to do is just put your slot receiver Antonio Brown here. And this works, again, much better if you have the really good route running, where he hits that 91 threshold or whatever. And you can leave your number 1 receiver on a slant route. Okay, so what's going to happen is that this cornerback out here is going to bite on the slant route just for a second, but that's enough for our out route to get completely free, and we'll be able to score. Okay, and you can even smart route that out route. It doesn't matter. So let me just get off of him. Okay, now sometimes it won't happen. Sometimes the jam animation works kind of strange on the outside receiver there. So this is something you definitely have to take to the practice field to get a feel of, okay, is it going to be open? Is it not? And eventually you'll kind of know, it's not going to be open, so I got to go somewhere else. Because this, let's face it, this can be picked if you don't throw it right. Okay, so just like that. Let's take a look at the instant replay. So I think this is really going to be this is going to be really tough to stop. I think this is probably the best red zone scheme that I can come across. Definitely in the run and shoot, and probably in any other playbook. And that's not even, you know, accounting for the run plays, which, by the way, we can mix in, and we'll get to that. But anyway, let's go over here. Okay. So, hard flat. He's going to take away anything immediately right there. Okay, so the hard flat carries just for a second, but it's enough for our outright to get completely free, and we just throw an outside pass lead, and there he is for an easy touchdown. Okay, let's run that a few times, see if we can get a situation where it doesn't work out for us. Okay, so that's another touchdown. And we'll run it one more time against just a stock cover 2 hard flat. Okay, easy stuff. So this also works against baseline press. So baseline press, I definitely smart route to the end zone here, because if they're not base aligned, what'll happen is that, as you saw, he'll kind of get pushed, and then it'll totally screw up his route, and he'll end up going to 10 yards anyway. In this case, since he's not getting jammed, you'll have to definitely do that. Okay, easy stuff. Now, the hardest case is when they do just baseline. So I think this is the case you really want to watch out for, and maybe I'd just avoid it entirely. But you can still squeeze it in. Okay, let's see how it works. Yeah, so you see, so yeah, I'd probably avoid that if you can. If you just see straight up baseline where the quarterback is playing off. But yeah, you can make it work. Actually, I think it works better. Yeah, if you come across baseline, you'll want to put your number 1 receiver just on the in route. And then again, your slot receiver just like this. And I think that does better in pulling in the safety in the corner there. And you'll be open just like that. Yeah, okay. So that's that. So against just regular coverage, because once you're in this area, it's automatically pressed. So against any sort of, you know, press coverage or baseline press, you definitely want to just, all you have to do is just do this out route. But if they do baseline and the cornerback is kind of up there by the end zone, definitely put number 1 on an in route. Okay, so how easy is that? So let's show it against cover 3. So the hard flat from the slot. Okay, cover 3 hard flat. Same thing, single back spread. So probably the same thing as the baseline cover 2. I think it works better when you do just an in route from your number 1. And it'll look something like this. Okay, so it usually doesn't have to be that tight. I think the receiver had a weird release, but you can get a lot of room. Okay, so just like that. So we'll show that against baseline press. So that'll also get open. So yeah, cover 2, cover 3, and then of course cover 4. This is going to work too, because really the same thing. It's just depending on where the hard flat's coming from. But yeah, I definitely take this to the practice field. You want to get a feel for how those animations work out, because it's going to be a quick decision you have to make. You have to take a look at the hard flat. First of all, is he in a hard flat? And if he is he going to take the in or take the slant or whatever, and is he going to give you enough room? So sometimes you have to be patient, and then sometimes you need to just abandon it if it doesn't look good. Because, again, you don't want to be throwing interceptions in the red zone. So, yeah. So mix this in with the other concept, and you're going to be scoring almost 100% of the time in the red zone. Now, on top of that, once things start to really spread out for you to stop this, when you have, you have something to the field that's really good with the sprint out, and you have something to the boundary that's really good with this quick kind of switching concept, I would say you have then more room in the middle. This read option is really good, especially if you have a quarterback with a scrambling quarterback style, because then you can make the handoff. So it'll look something like this. So if we go up against, again, that cover 2 hard flat. So you see here we have a 5-man box. We have the 4 defensive linemen, and then we have the middle linebacker. Okay, so what'll happen is that since it's a read option, this guy will be taken out of the play. So he's going to be the read defender looking to take the quarterback, but we're not going to be giving it to the quarterback. We're going to be handing it off. So then what you have there is you have 5 blockers on 4 defenders. And usually how I like to do this, I want to cut it with my running back to just around the left guard. So something like that. So this becomes, again, really dominant because you have viable options to the right, you have viable options to the left, and then with the run, you have some really good options right in the middle. And then don't be afraid to mix in the draws too. I think you have a halfback draw in pretty much every formation in this playbook. So if we're even in single back, you have this motion draw here, which actually could work nicely because they could be expecting, let's actually take a look at that. They could be expecting that motion for the extra blocker for when you're doing that sprint out, even though it's a different receiver. And then you just hit the draw right in the middle. Okay, so definitely work on that. The sprint out, if you haven't already, is really good. And then this is just a new concept that really is going to eliminate those hard flats, because I showed you there's ways that you can exploit that. So definitely check those out, and we'll see you in the next one.